Good morning, cancer fans. So this is part of my video for my vlog cancer.
You've got
vlog.
your phone the wrong way.
That's why we put up with all of her shit right there. Let's see if I can figure stuff out like that.
Hello.
Good morning.
You need the stick so that we're not so close.
I have long arms. I'm just going to do a little bit. So there's that part, and this is the morning. I wanted to show you this. Here, honey. You hold my thing right there, and I can actually flip it around so that you can take videos like that.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to see this. So it's basically just a long. Yeah, I'm giving you a little extra on this one. So it basically is just a long needle. They stick into that port right there. They shove it in there, and they put this big old gnarly looking piece of tape over it. And it has these shut-off valves that you can turn off if you have any issues.
In case of a spill.
Yep, in case it starts leaking. Then you go down to here, and it's a 5 milliliters per hour thing. This is actually what they call a pump, and I guess this is a lot different than the old pumps used to be. I think, from what I understand, the old pumps used to have batteries, and there was an actual electric pump in there that pressurized, but this is more like a balloon. This thing on the inside is very heavy duty and solid and thick, and I'm not sure what this one is, maybe just some kind of protection. But that thing, when I first get it, is like as big around as a lemon or something. It looks like a lemon, and
a big lemon.
Like a big lemon, and it's got the stuff in it, the chemicals in it, and it's like a balloon, and the balloon just contracts or whatever, and it pushes the stuff through the tube, through this 5 milliliters per hour, through all of this good stuff, into here, and then this thing goes down. It's got another little tube that goes up here over my collarbone, and then it goes down into one of my arteries that goes straight to my heart, because I guess the chemo can damage your blood vessels. So they wanted to put it into the biggest, like, heavy dutiest blood vessel, and those ones are mainly around the heart. So they put this little guy right down into one of those blood vessels, and that's it. Yep, and then it goes right in this little thing.
Yeah.
Right in there.
So your chest hair is still not all the way grown back where they shaved
I want to
you.
cut it all off. I like it not having chest hair.
No, I like it, honey.
So then it's kind of cool because it has they give you this little pouch for it. And then this 5 milliliter thing per hour, you put it right there like that. And then you zip it, and you zip it up. And then that little 5 milliliter thing keeps it from pulling out. And yeah, pretty sturdy little thing. I sleep with this. They say that to take a shower with it, but that's because the water gets underneath this tape.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any big thing.
But that's only for 2 days. You only have it for 2 days, and then they take it off. Today we're getting it taken off.
Yeah, so if I shower Monday morning or Sunday night, then I go in and get it on there clean, and then I come, and then when they take it off, I take a shower tonight, and everything is good.
Yeah.
So there's also these things, though, because when I go into the cancer center, to get the chemo, we sit in this big lobby with all these other people sitting in there, and everyone looks like they have cancer. Everyone looks like they're going to chemo, except for a few people. And one of the things that I noticed about the people is their skin seems to be very kind of scabby. You see, it looks like they have some issues. That you can tell that there's something wrong with them. So about 2 weeks ago, I had this bump on my arm that I picked off. And so this is kind of what it's turned into. I got 3 little red spots on my arm, and on some of the people in the chemo, they have these all over. They have them on their legs and on their
I wonder
arms.
what that's from.
And I think it's because your body is using all of its healing stuff to heal the cancer or whatever is going in here.
Oh yeah, they said it's
left.
harder to heal.
And there's not much left for these scabs and stuff, because I've also got one right here.
Well, don't pick at them.
But I just wanted to show that. And also, I'm just getting bumps and red spots and scabby spots and weird spots.
Yeah.
So that's it for this little section. That's
Be
it.
back soon.
Yep. Got the port all cleared up. Just a Band-Aid on there now, which I can just tear it off. So that's all done. Let's see. I cut way back on the pumpkin seeds, even though I think a few pumpkin seeds a day or whatever. I think that actually helps keep things moving along. So I eat a couple here and there. I don't think it hurts me. I think it's delicious. I get the treatment the same as everybody in this big old room. There's like 15 people, 20 people in this room. Everybody's getting chemo. Then when I leave there, they give me a pump. They install a pump onto my port and everything, and then I go home with that for 2 nights. The next morning, when I get home from the cancer center with the pump on, I take 2 steroid pills in the morning, and then the next day I take 2 steroid pills, and then that day, 2 days after I was at the cancer center getting the chemo, 2 days after that I take my last dose of steroids, and then I go and I get the pump removed, and they clean out the system there a little bit. The steroids aren't making me as angry as they did originally. I'm not sure if it's because I may have more weight on, and it's not so heavy duty in my system, it's not so concentrated or whatever. That could be it. What else? I guess that's about it. I still feel pretty good. There's days when I feel really bad about the whole thing, because I thought that after a month of chemotherapy and seeing doctors and all this stuff, that I would start feeling better. And I do. I feel better. I feel a lot better than I did before. I felt just ill. I was at 118 pounds. I couldn't eat anything. But that's something separate. What I'm talking about is the cancer. I thought that the cancer would dissipate once I stopped smoking and I started eating better and I stopped with the energy drinks. I thought that the cancer would just go away, which shows, I guess, how stupid I am. Everybody thinks that they're the exception and not the rule. And the rule is that if you get stage 4 colon cancer, a lot of people die from it. And a lot of healthy people get it and die, and I guess. So I felt like after 4 weeks of it that I would feel better. I thought that the cancer would be shrinking, which it might be shrinking. I can't really feel the tumors like I used to be able to. When I was 118 pounds, I had 0 body fat. I could feel every tumor, I could feel my intestines, through my skin, through my stomach skin, everything. So I can't feel that anymore, but I'm not sure if it's because I put on 40 pounds now and then there's too much stuff there for me to feel it anymore, or if it's shrinking. Sometimes I feel like I feel much better. I feel like the thing, everything's working out good. And they're telling me at the cancer center that the cancer markers are down and that all of my tests, my blood work looks good. But it's hard to believe, I don't know how much I trust the tests and how much I trust the whole system. It seems like if the system was all that great, then they'd have more than a 14% survival rate after 5 years. That to me says they don't have a real handle on it. They don't have a real good understanding of it. That's it. Not that I'm feeling sorry for myself or I'm feeling down or whatever. I feel great today. And it's funny too, because this is something that I really wanted to touch on, because it makes me really sad when I go in there, because I'm lucky. I can come home and I have Deanna here. Deanna takes me to all of my appointments. She keeps all of my stuff straight. She keeps me fed. She keeps all the insures and all the pills and all the everything going. She keeps these videos and YouTube and everything going. If I didn't have Deanna, I would be lost. And I go in there to my appointments, and I see people in these rooms that don't have anybody. They're all by themselves. Either they've made that for themselves, where they have I've been mean to everybody who loved them, and or no one loves them anymore, or whatever. I really don't know, but I can't help but feel sorry for them. I feel so lucky, and I don't know if I would say blessed, since I'm not a believer and all that stuff, but I'm just very lucky, and I can't imagine going through this by myself. And I'm 100% sure that if I was going through this by myself without Deanna, I would be smoking right now cigarettes for sure. There's not even a question. I want cigarettes to this day still, and if it wasn't for fear of Deanna and dying, of course, but Deanna first, I'll be honest, um, I would be smoking. I would smoke now still. Um, and I think the one thing that really is not good is that when I just had, before I went to see any doctors or anything, I was kind of self-medicating. And so what I was doing is I was taking lots of ibuprofens, and I was alternating ibuprofens and acetaminophen, or aspirins and ibuprofens, alternating them. Sometimes it would do great. Sometimes it wouldn't do anything. Sometimes the pain was just too much, and the whatever, it didn't matter what I did, it still hurt. So I started taking ibuprofen, acetaminophen, and marijuana. It's legal in Arizona where I live. When I first started doing it, it wasn't, but it was legal for medical use. And so I know it's not the right thing to do, and it's certainly not what I would want my son to do or anybody else to do. But I just said, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to do it. If I wanted to spend the $300 and go get a medical card, I could easily do it. People do it with no conditions at all. The whole medical marijuana thing is just a ripoff. It's just the government's way of collecting money for it. It was just a very, I don't know. I don't really get into the politics and all of that crap. I just know that if I wanted to, I could have gone and spent a bunch of money to get a medical marijuana card, and then I could have gotten medical marijuana, no problem. Because I know a lot of people that did it by phone or by the computer. They just lied and said, "Oh, I have this stomach ache all the time, or I have a backache all the time. I have my elbows hurt, or I have constant headaches and whatever." And then when I smoke pot, it feels so much better. And the doctor would say, "Okay, here's your prescription." So with me having an actual condition where I was actually in pain all the time, I knew that I could easily get one. So I saved myself the $300. I couldn't go to the dispensaries to buy it. I had to buy it the same way as everyone else buys it in the places where the people have been smoking it for years, and it's not legal, which I think it should be legal everywhere. I mean, if alcohol is legal, and I know it's like saying two wrongs don't make a right, but personally, I think it does a lot of good. It does my mental state a lot of good. It does my appetite a little bit of good. I'll be honest with you, mostly it's just my mental state. But what I was getting around to is that this thing is what really kind of keeps me tethered even the tiniest bit to cigarettes, because this is like when I don't smoke this when I feel stomach pain or when I feel like I want to get high. I smoke it when I want to inhale some smoke and blow out some smoke, and I need that burn in my throat, and then it sucks. So it's not as much a medical medicine thing as it is a crutch or a bridge or a gap, whatever, between me and cigarettes. But as long as it keeps cigarettes out of me, I'm pretty happy. And I don't smoke this nearly as much as I smoke, obviously, a cigarette. I'd smoke 20 cigarettes a day. I maybe take 2 puffs off of this a day. But I'll do it in all honesty. This stuff is like Stanley weed. This is the best stuff. You take one big hit off of this, and you might as well forget about it. You're done for the day. So you just got to take a little tiny hit. Not that little, but just a little bit. And then I feel a lot calmer, a little bit of appetite. It gets me back in a good keel, stops me from being depressed. Honestly, I get the stuff that they say that makes you feel like working, gives you a little bit of energy, which I need. I like that little bit of extra energy and that little bit of concentration or whatever it does for me. I'll have to make another episode about that and really get into my thoughts on it, but I think it's a good thing. I think, yeah, I like it. I think it helps me. What else did I want to talk about? Talked about the guy in the cancer center that was all by himself sitting there, and it was so sad because he I don't know what kind of cancer this guy had, but he was in bad shape. I mean, I have this spot on my arm right here where it looks like I'm getting some like scabby stuff going there, and it's kind of freaky looking, and it kind of weirds me out. This guy had that all over his arms and legs, and on his cheeks and his neck. His eyes were really, really saggy. I just you could tell that his mouth was all rotten, and he was just rotting out from the inside out. And he was all by himself, sitting in there, and he was trying to itch his arms, but his coordination wasn't good enough, and he was like going like this, and it's hard not to feel bad for people who are all alone and they don't have anybody to share, and to to be there for them. I don't know what I would do without Deanna. I really don't. Probably I would cry a lot. I really don't know. But I'm glad that I don't have to do that. So that's it. I'm not necessarily eating healthy. I'm just eating more, which I think is a good thing. I'm hoping that these pills that I'm taking now, the twice a day anti-nausea ondansetron will help me eat more, even though I don't really need to gain any more weight because I'm not working or anything. I'm just doing stupid shit all day, being lazy and sleepy and stuff. I'll make another episode about that too, about the whole not working thing. Because on one hand, I feel bad because I was raised in a household where my dad worked 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I think he would take a couple days off. Sometimes he would take Christmas off or whatnot, but that man worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. So that's what I was brought up in. I was brought up in, if you don't feel good and you have a cold or you have a runny nose or sniffles or the cough or something, a little fever, you go to work, because your body's gonna recover a lot faster when you're in motion and you're moving and you're working and you're using your body and it's heating up and getting exercise, and if you just sit in a bed all day and with the towels and sniffles and antibacterial sprays and all your little medicines and everything, it's gonna last a lot longer. And it's been my experience, because I can tell you, in my entire lifetime, I've missed like 2 days of work. Up until this whole stomach thing started happening a few years ago, I missed almost no work. And I was working 6 days, 7 days a week, all that time. So that's the way I was brought up. So now I have a lot of mixed emotions about this, taking time off. And I know that a lot of people don't do it. And I really can't afford to do it. So be clear about that. But to me, it was, I put the bravo-ness or the masculinity or the macho-ness or whatever aside, and I thought, I don't want to die, and I want to live long enough to see my son grow into a man. I want to spend more time with Deanna. I finally met a beautiful woman who is kind and sweet and just everything that I love, and I'm not ready to go. I'm far from ready to go. I really just started feeling like this. Before this whole thing happened, I kind of was pretty, you live, you die, and it doesn't matter. People have been doing it for millions of years, or animals and species, stuff on Earth has been living and dying, looking up at the same stars that we're looking up at. And I was thinking about it when I was watching Game of Thrones. I wonder how many people started watching Game of Thrones, really loved it, couldn't wait to see what happened in the last season, and then died before the last season even got around. It was like my dad. He was a Detroit Lions fan for his whole life. Detroit Lions never did shit. They made it to the second round of the playoffs once. So, people have been living and dying on this planet forever, and I am no different. I am not an exception. I am the rule. I will live and I will die, and in 100 years, No one will even remember that I was here. So that's kind of what I was brought up thinking. But I don't care. I don't want to die. I want to live long enough, like I said, to see my son grow into a man. I want to live long enough to be that old man that tinkers around with stuff in the garage and fixes his TVs when they're broke and just doing all that stuff. And I got a lot of good years ahead of me if I can just get this cancer thing straightened around. And in my mind, it doesn't have to be gone, um, and I understand that it can spread if there's anything left. But they said my dad's cancer was all gone, and it spread and killed him. I hear that all the time. Like somebody with cancer, oh, they said that they don't have cancer anymore, and then they end up dying from cancer 2 years later because it spread to their lungs or to their heart or to whatever, their blood, their bones. That's just something that I have to face. It's a reality. I could die from cancer. It could happen really fast. If it spreads to my testicles, I could be dead in 6 months. If it hits my brain, I could be, not that there's much left of that anyways, but I could be dead in a relatively short amount of time. So, we just have to. So I guess my whole point is that I was brought up in a working environment where you were expected to go to work all the time, every day. My dad had a very strict work ethic that didn't allow him to take time off, didn't allow him to, none of that. He went to work every single day, worked long hours. That was his life. I don't want that. I want to try to find something else where I don't have to go and do a job that I don't like. It's easy enough to like every job that you go to. I like doing maintenance. I like doing tile jobs. I like doing plumbing, concrete, and framing, and I like doing all that stuff. Only because I had to do it. I mean, there's no sense in not liking it if you have to do it. You convince yourself that you like it, and then you have fun doing it or whatever. I don't fucking like that shit. Who the hell likes that? And especially here in Arizona, it's freaking 115 degrees outside in the summer, at least. And if you're standing out in the sun, it feels like you're standing in a microwave or something, And sometimes you get a little breeze going, it feels like you're standing in an oven with the fan on, like one of those industrial ovens like in a restaurant. And that's no lie. It's fucking hot out there. And I'm not excited to get back out there to it. But my reasoning for stop working is because I felt like it was serious enough that I didn't want to be jarring it around and jerking it around. For one thing, the last day that I worked, I could hardly lift a ladder. I mean, like I said, I was 118 pounds. I could wrap my hand around my arms, the top of my arms. Cannot do that anymore. I was just skin and bone. I couldn't hardly lift ladders. I couldn't hardly lift my tools. I'd go to work for a day, and I would come home, and I could hardly even lift my arms and legs. I could hardly stand up. I was so tired and so exhausted, and it was affecting. I just didn't like it, and I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So I feel like if I can keep my weight up, take it easy, and if I have to go through some hardships, that's fine, because I would rather go through some hardships because I'm taking it easy than die because I have pride and because I have too much pride and I'm scared to stop working for a while. And while I'm doing this stop working thing, and as stupid as this sounds, I'm sure that millions of people all over the world are trying to do this, but I have a good history for this kind of thing, of figuring out little patterns and loopholes and seeing similarities and seeing patterns and things like that. So I have a pretty good history for getting search engine traffic and getting listed and getting a lot of attention to my websites. At one point I had, actually twice in my life, I've had over 150 websites. Actually both of those times, just for shorter durations. The first time that I had 150 websites, every single one of those websites was listed for what it was, for what I wanted it to be listed at the top of Google, Yahoo, Dogpile, every search engine that you can imagine. There was like there was a bunch of search engines back then. There was like five 5 or 6 search engines that were pretty good. But of course, Google and Yahoo and Microsoft had a search engine back then. I forget what it was. But there was a lot of search engines, and I was listed all over the top pages for every one of my 150 domains. And I used a lot of, not shady tactics. These things that I did were unheard of. I studied all of the bulletin boards, all of these gurus who were professed professionals and experts at search engine optimization and getting your sites listed and blah, blah, blah. I walked all over those guys. I took everything that they said, then I took my own experiences. I got all these websites, put counters and reference trackers and everything all over these sites. And I also interlinked all of my sites and all of my pages with all of my other sites and all of my other pages, which gave me a ton of incoming links. And the one thing that people didn't know back then is that Google was only interested in the C part of the IP. The IP addresses have 4 groups of letters, of numbers, and Google, I don't know about more interested, but for my purposes, the third block of numbers in that IP address was the most important part, because all of the other numbers could be the same. If that third block of numbers was different on all of my websites, all of my domains, like cooldudes.com, books.com, I didn't have any of those. I had other names that I'm not going to mention, but all of those would have all these incoming links. So that was like a vote for the authenticity of the material on that page. Like it was the relevance. So basically Google and a lot of other websites rated each page by, well, I'm getting into something that's not important. Anyways, I have a pretty good experience at solving these little riddles with these search engines and seeing these similarities and the patterns and the things like that. I don't think you could possibly have better. I mean, for like 6 months, I was listed number 1 on like the first 15 pages of every single search term that I wanted. And it was funny too, because you could look up like librarybooks.com. Not that wasn't one of mine, but if you looked up librarybooks.com, you would also get the first 3 pages of Google would be, because all of my domains were similar. I had similar content, but it was different, like books, like cookbooks, science fiction books, whatever books, romance books, blah, blah, blah books. So they were all the same. So they could be related and linked together. So that wasn't like a trick or anything like that. All of my domains had that content, like a cookbook. If one of my domains was cookbooks, I had 40 pages of cookbook materials. Like I would say, this cookbook is really great, or this recipe I found in this cookbook, blah, blah. And then I would link that from this one and this one and this one, wherever I thought that it was relevant. And it just blew up. I woke up one morning getting ready to go to work, and I looked at my domains, and every single one of my domains, every 140 of those domains, and I was on about 7 different servers, 7 different companies, because each one of those companies would only have like 6 different C-class IPs to give me. So I had to get only 6 there, and I'd get another server from this company, and they'd have 6 more over here, and I'd get one from this company, and they'd have 4. So I had to get 140 domains worth of different C-class IPs in order for this to work, which I did pretty easily. And one day I got up for work, and every single one of my domains was offline because the bandwidth had been exceeded. In some of those domains, I had half of a server, which is a bunch of bandwidth. There was one domain where the last time that someone was able to access the page, and this was only in like 6 hours from the time that Google reset its statistics or whatever. However, after Google spidered my site, I guess it probably was, or spidered my domains, and it went through all of them. I mean, like in 6 or 7 hours. And not only did it spider them, but it listed them. And like I said, I was listed the first 3 pages of every, and that went on for 6 months. And in those 6 months, because I was stupid enough to have all my information on the Whois database, so anybody that wanted to know, hey, who's this guy that suddenly has all of these number 1 listings for all of these really popular search terms, they can go to Whois database and see all of my information hey, there's his address, there's his phone number. And I was getting death threats and threats from people all the time. I would go onto this bulletin board that I was a member of this. It was a newbie booster. It was called Tom's Newbie Booster. It's a pretty old website. It's probably still on there. Great, great resource. A lot of resources like counters that you can make yourself. They had a lot of programming help. They had a tutorial for programming where you could write your own scripts, simple scripts, but they can get as complicated as you want to dive into it. And it's not that hard to write your own CGI scripts. So anyways, I was writing my own scripts. I was building my own pages, but it's kind of funny because when I got all done, when Google finally started blacklisting my sites because they found out that all of my sites, I didn't link to anyone outside of my own personal domains. And apparently they took exception to that. And so did a lot of other people. People were telling me that, that I needed to link more sites than just my own because it was greed and that was what's wrong with the population and everything. And I was perfectly willing to exchange links with, and every single time I would say to those people, sure, I'll exchange links with you. That's perfectly fine with me. Let's do it. I would give them a link, and then a few weeks later, I'd go back and my link would be gone from their page. They'd be getting thousands and thousands of visitors from me, straight search engine visitors, which is the best, most profitable traffic that you can get, and they would remove my site. People are too greedy. They're too stupid. They don't know I don't know. Anyways, wrong subject. I'll probably cut most of this out, but anyways, I have pretty good history with that. I think that we can make this YouTube video thing work. That's what I was getting around to. We are switching from maintenance, construction, hard work. Besides that, my truck's running like shit, and I don't really feel like getting it fixed. I don't think I can get underneath it and fix it anymore. I tried the last time, but it's just too much. When it's 110 degrees outside, you get in my garage and it's like 140 freaking degrees in my garage. I don't have any air conditioner in there. It's not insulated. So in these hot days, it's extra hot in my freaking garage. And I'm certainly not going to do it out in the driveway with beating down sun. So maybe in the spring, in the fall, which is just right around the corner. It's the 15th of August, right? Yeah, August, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. It's September 15th. So hopefully it'll start cooling down pretty soon and I can get out and do a little bit of work on the truck, even though I don't know what's wrong with the truck. It just makes a thumping noise. You can't hear it from outside, but you can hear it from inside, and it's like metal on metal thumping noise. I don't know where the hell it's coming from, what it's doing, and it doesn't start going until the truck's moving. You can run the engine, rev it up, doesn't matter. It doesn't make a bit of noise. The engine runs perfect. It's something to do with the drivetrain or the suspension or something, I don't even know. But when the tires start spinning, it's a slink. It sounded like a scraping at first. Now it's like a scraping and a thump. Like scrape thump, scrape thump, scrape thump. It's not coming from either one of the tires. It's coming from the center underneath the vehicle somewhere. So I don't want to dump a bunch of money into the truck and then still not have it fixed. I don't want to take it to a mechanic because I don't trust any mechanics. Ever since I left Grand Ledge or left Michigan, and I can't have my old friend from grade school, Brian Bishop, fix my vehicles. I don't trust anybody. I fixed my own stuff ever since I left Michigan. And with my health the way it is, I know I probably don't look bad, but I'm telling you, the blockage in my colon is still there. There's no question. I don't think that maybe it has reduced a little bit, not much. It still takes a lot of stool softening stuff to get the ball rolling, and my food is still not digesting right. It's like a constant balancing act, trying to eat right, eat the right food, and get it to digest and keep the weight on, and not feel like shit. So and I can tell you that when I start working and I start doing physical activities, my body uses all of my stuff. I mean, it doesn't take long for me to use up all of my fat reserve and all of my reserves, and then I have nothing left. And so I'm afraid that if I go back to working regular like I was before, that I'll be right back down to 118 pounds because I can only eat so much. And the problem is that when it starts to get backed up, it doesn't. Then I can't eat anymore. I mean, I'll literally be full of food that's not digesting, and what it does is it sits in there and it starts making me sick. Especially if I eat like something that's like if I drink a bunch of milk or I have ice cream or something like that, and there's milk in there. cheese, just the kind of stuff that you don't want to leave sitting on the counter. Well, think of it sitting in your gut. And there's been times before I stopped working, where I would throw up. Um, was throwing up like every few days. I would eat, and then it had nowhere to go, and it just came up. Blah. And I don't like that. So knowing what I know, that there's only a 14% survival rate after 5 years, tells me that they don't know what the hell, they don't have a good treatment plan. So my trust in them is very small. I believe that these chemicals that they're giving me are killing the cancer cells. Or at least that's the only, I can't go make my own chemo recipe and start treating myself. And maybe I could, but I don't think I want to try to do that. So I'm taking their chemicals, but I'm not going to listen to all of their advice. I mean, maybe somebody says, you don't have to worry about that. You'll be fine going back to work. I don't believe it, because I know what it was like, and I don't feel like, at least as far as the food passing through my body, I don't feel like that's improved very much at all. And honestly, I don't think the pain in my liver has gotten worse. If I skip a pain pill, it freaking hurts. And even if I don't skip a pain pill, sometimes if I eat too many pumpkin seeds, or I don't even know what causes it, but sometimes I just get massive pains in right up where my liver, that lump in my liver was. So yeah, I'm scared to go back to work. And besides that, I don't want to go back to work. I'm going to use this time to try to find a new career. And the first career that we're going to try is YouTube. We're going to try the old YouTube career. And yeah, it looks like fun. We want to try it. I have one channel, or one YouTube account for video games, because I have loved playing video games since they invented them when I was a kid. Love video games. So if I can make a career out of making YouTube videos for video games that I'm playing, then that would be awesome. That would be like a dream come true for me. There's a couple other things that I want to try too, but there's no reason that I can't do those as well as YouTube videos. We want to start going to Goodwill. We used to do this thing where we would go to Goodwill on Sundays, maybe like another day too, but we would go on Sundays, and then we would look for things that we would resell on eBay or on OfferUp. And it's really easy to do. I mean, as long as you don't get what I did is I started with a small market. I started with tin toys. I mean, toys is a huge market, for one thing, but it's something that I'm interested in, so I did that. I'm not gonna start doing, brass bells or anything like that. I got shit that I like, so that I'm interested in it, and it keeps me interested. So we did I did toys. And I found a tin, whatever, like the wind-up toys it was from, what was it, 1924 or 1916 or something like that. It was an Army G.I. Joe wind-up thing, and it was like $1.49. We ended up selling it for like $150. But I found it like immediately, and I used to see stuff all the time. Like I went in there it was more than a few years ago now, but it was probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and there was two old ladies in there, and they were telling another old lady that all they do all day is go to Goodwills and Savers and all these places, and they look for silver stuff, silverware, silver, whatever, silver jewelry, whatever, and they buy the silver stuff, and then they resell the silver for more money. And I just thought that was brilliant. I want to do that. So that's basically what we're doing. We're going to Goodwills, and I'm just kind of snooping around and looking around and trying to find good deals and things that we can turn around and sell for more money. Another better probably way to do it would be go to garage sales, and then try to turn around and sell some of that stuff. But you got to know what to buy, because you don't want to buy a bunch of crap that you buy for $5 and sells for $10. You want to buy stuff for $5 that sells for $50, or at least that pays you for your time. I don't want to have a career that doesn't pay me good money, And the thing about this is that you got to kind of start out small and then work your way up. Like start off with this type of thing, and then you can branch out to silver or silverware or whatever. You can branch out to other things, china or pottery or paintings or other things that they sell at Goodwill and at garage sales. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things like that. What were some of the other things that we were going to do? So we had the YouTube videos. We have the Goodwill and eBay and the other ones. No, that was not a loser sign. It would be more like this. So there's two things. What was the other things? Yeah, that was just it. I was going to have the cancer videos. So on YouTube, I was going to have cancer videos, video game videos, and then we do repairs on the RV and camping and stuff like that. So that's another videos thing. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I know this was a very long episode, but what the hell. So thank you for watching. I hope that you made it all the way through. If you did make it all the way through, if you would like and subscribe, that would be freaking awesome. Also, if you could tell all of your friends and all of your relatives and everyone that you know and everybody that you work with to like and subscribe all of my videos. And also all of Deanna's videos. That would be also great. I don't want to be selfish. Okay, so anyways, that's it. Fun stuff. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.